So I got everything in place in the tank that we're gonna need to rehouse these little guys. Got us a nice big old rock for a basking platform. And since I'm gonna keep these guys outside, they don't need UV and they don't need a basking spot, because where their tank is, they get a lot of sun and, excuse me, a lot of algae blooms. I'm gonna need you, if you're using a 10 gallon heaters, beautiful piece of driftwood from that fits all the way across this tank. And here is all the plants that I had put. So this is local water hyacinth. It's invasive to Florida, I believe. We got duckweed, which is also invasive, and we have this right here, a little water lettuce. I cultured this thing from, it was about the size of one of these duckweed. So these are plants that I'm going to use because they give them a lot of cover, make them feel secure. Get another look at these little guys. Okay, and I also have a piece of a cinder block in there. Just fact on musk turtles: when you are setting up a musk turtle tank, my water line is here, which is probably 3 to 4 inches of water. You do not want to put your tank half and half like for a slider, because stink pots, they're not found in deep water most of the time. They prefer to be in shallow water where there's a lot of sticks that they can gradually drop down to different levels. So if you're going to have them in deep water, you need to have a lot of branches and a lot of plants that are a lot of easy access to get to the surface. Otherwise they will drown, and I've had it happen before. The question is, if you want to have a full tank with fish and stink pots, you're going to have a lot of decoration in there, plus a basking spot if you're indoors, and always UV. They should always be offered the option of UV light. Now turtles definitely need it, because as they're growing, as they're younger, they need more UV than the adults, because they are growing their shells, they are growing at a fast pace. These guys were super duper tiny when I got them. They're about the size of that clump of leaf right there, that duckweed, and they have almost doubled in size within a month. Now we're gonna put in this piece of driftwood. Luckily for me, it fits all the way across the tank, so perfect. That's exactly how I want it. So them rocks are just barely out of the water. It's just that's just for a platform for them to rest on, and this log is what really matters, because this is where they'll come out to bask. Mud turtles, 9 times out of 10, will bask on a log before they bask on a piece of brick. So if you got a big enough log to put in their tank, I'd put one to the surface and put the basking and UV light facing on this. They're more likely to go on this. It just feels more natural to them. They'll feel more secure where they can just slide off, instead of a rock that's in the corner that they only have 2 exits to get off. This, they have 4 sides. They can go this way, this way, this way, or this way. Everything in between. Now let's get us these plants. So with plants, you could literally just chuck them in there, and duckweed in particular and water lettuce, if they flip upside down, you don't have to worry about spending all the time flipping each individual one over. They are buoyant in their leaves to make it where if they did that, let's see if I can get it to do work. See, they flip right over. They're not designed to just sink or stay flipped. So like all these water lettuce, they will all eventually flip over onto to the correct side. So yeah, I like using this water hyacinth, but it does get messy, so you kind of have to pull these off as they die off. But the good thing about these is I don't have a filter on this tank. I change it once a month. Silver root balls, they soak up all the ammonia and they filter the water and hold all the poop and stuff. So it's always good to have plants in your tank, even with fishes. It makes you have to do a water change less frequently. Log in the front, this little piece of a log. It has algae and stuff growing on it, which is always a plus. And we're gonna get the rest of this stuff. Enough plants. Okay, now, so we've got that done, and I will, before we move on to putting the turtles in, heater. You do not plug it in immediately. You set it in there and let it sit for at least an hour, because this, believe it or not, is like a fish. You want this to acclimate to the temperature of the water. Otherwise, I've had it before, this glass will explode once heat touches it. The temperature change is too much for the glass that holds in all the sand and beads in this tube. So what you got to do is let it sit for about, I'd leave it an hour and a half. Like what I'm going to do, I'm not going to plug this directly in. So mine is, this water is well water. If you don't have well water, you would definitely want to make sure that you put what's it called, dechlorinator in there. Trying to bite me, but his colors, I have to say, this is probably the most beautiful of the mud turtles that I've had the chance to work with. Just look at his colors. His shell, it's a smooth shell, it doesn't have ridges on it. He's a beautiful little guy. And he's really aggressive. He always tries to bite me. This other one. So this is a common mud turtle. His belly colors aren't too vibrant, but still beautiful. They have a more pointed snout. Intelligent or not, they are very interesting to watch. So, with that being said, let's pop these guys on their lock. Never, ever put your turtle directly in the water. Let them go in on their own time. I don't know if he's gonna go in because there's a giant camera in his face, but let's put the other one. The other one's probably just gonna go straight in, if I'm gonna be honest. But if you're getting a turtle, make sure you do the proper research on which specific species you are acquiring. Because I'm gonna tell you right now, Red Ear Sliders, they're cheap. They're one of the worst turtles to have. Because they get big, people don't realize it, and they're just messy animals in general. And if they get out, they are invasive to your area. My recommendation is, if you get a turtle, a first-time turtle for your kid or something like that, I recommend getting a painted turtle, a mapped turtle, a mud turtle. Get something that's native to your area, because if just so happen to speak by your luck, your turtle gets out, it won't be making a big impact on your ecosystem, because there are already turtles like that here. That's why Florida and Texas have the huge red-eared problem. They just thrive. So if you're getting a turtle, get something that's native. It just helps out. And if it gets too big for you and you can't care for it anymore and you can't find a home for it, you can always let it go and have that thought in your mind, I did something right and I didn't do something wrong. Because it's not going to make an impact on your ecosystem. It's just going to be another turtle in the wild. Yes, it's going to be bad because it's raised on pellets or it's raised on whatever, but if you do what I do for my turtles, and to the lake and catch a bunch of minnows and throw it in there, or feed them feeder mollies from the store, something like that. As long as it gets their attention and excitement up, if you so happen to let them go in the future, they're gonna be ready. They're gonna know how to catch their own food. And I see that happen with too many turtles. People get turtles, they don't know what they're getting into, and they just want to get rid of them. And it's not fair for the turtle. So if you're getting a turtle and you're not 100% sure on keeping it till it's full size, make sure it's native to your area and teach it to hunt. These guys get taught to hunt worms, shrimp, crayfish, fish, different kind of stuff. Once a week, I put in a pinch of pellets, and that's all they need. As long as they keep their water clean, keep providing them cover, a lot of plants, provide them fresh food, and you have one healthy turtle. But I always recommend building you a little top or buying a top. I make mine on a 2x4 so it sits down very thick, and I have wire on top so that I can leave this outside and not worry of a raccoon flipping it off, because I make it snug so it fits tight and it doesn't shake at all. You have to pull it directly up on both sides. And that's the other thing. Make sure your tank is secure. You don't want cats getting in there. You don't want your kid getting in there and squishing the turtle if he's really young, or she. You don't want birds getting in there if you're having your tank outside for the natural sun, which I highly recommend. It is super beneficial to have them in the natural sunlight for a couple days. Even if you don't keep them outside, it's always good to put them in an outside tank so they can bask. So get like a big tub, set it outside when they're big enough to where a bird can't fly off with them. Put you a nice big log and have them bask. Have a playpen. So when you're not at home, they're not stuck inside. Because these guys are highly intelligent. I've had turtles where they'll follow me along the glass so I can feed them. And they just show a different level of intelligence that far exceeds what people see of turtles. So, with that being said, take it into consideration. When you're getting a turtle, it's a commitment. These guys will live right up next to me. They'll live about 60 to 80 years for musk turtles. I don't believe they quite live like a tortoise, but nonetheless, that's really a long time. And they are beautiful animals. So, with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed. Next time you take into consideration getting a turtle, do your research. And I hope you enjoy. See you guys on the next one. Peace out.